Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry I haven't posted a video in a little while. It's been maybe a week and a half or so. I've just been a little bit busy. I've been trying to make some extra cash so that I can save up to get a van, so I'm sure you'll understand. Because as soon as I get a van, I can start making build videos and things like that. So sacrificing a bit of time making videos now is going to kind of pay off in the future anyway. So yeah, that's what's been going on there. But I got a video for you today anyways. It's a request that I had from one of my viewers a little while ago, wanting to see what my sort of short list is for potential future vans. So what I'm looking at maybe getting next. And yeah, I've got 4 vans lined up, which I will, I'll get into in a second. But before I start the video, I've decided that I'm going to start doing Q&A videos. So if you have any questions that you want answered, then leave them in the comment section of this video and I'll add them all up and put them in a list, and then I'll make a separate video answering all the questions. And if it's popular, then I might make it like a weekly thing or something, at least a regular thing. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. They don't have to be van related, they can be anything you want. So bear in mind that this list is made up of vans that we have here in Australia. I don't know 100% if they're available overseas. I know I have a lot of viewers from the UK and the US. So yeah, I think some of them are, but some of them you guys might not have heard of. But just keep that in mind. This is specifically vans that I'm looking at, and I'm here in Australia. Obviously you guys might have different choices where you are. So the first van that I have on my list is a Mitsubishi Express. It's the kind of van you would see like an electrician or a plumber driving around in, just a small white van, similar to my last van. But the reason that one's on the list is because it's the most affordable out of the sort of commonly available vans here in Australia. I could probably pick one of those up for a few thousand, which means that I could get going sooner rather than later and start another build series. So that's why that one's kind of attractive to me, because it'll do most of what my last van did, but for a lot less money. You can get them in a couple of different wheelbases, but the most common one is the short wheelbase. You can also get the long wheelbase, and I think some of them have a slightly higher roof, not like a high roof, but just a little bit higher. But yeah, I'll probably, if I was to get a Mitsubishi Express, I'd probably end up getting a short wheelbase purely because they're the ones that are most available. So number 2 on the list is the Toyota Hiace. Basically, it's the van that I had as my last build. So if you've seen my last build, that was a Toyota Hiace. That was a long wheelbase. You can get them in a short wheelbase. You can also get the commuter, which is kind of like a 12-seater bus. It's got a little, I think it's about half a meter longer, and it's a little bit taller. And it's got like 12 seats in it, but you just tear those out. They're pretty popular actually, that model, for turning into camper vans. But the advantage with the Toyota is generally they're the most reliable out of the vans. You very rarely have a problem with them, and I've seen them quite commonly going over 500,000, 600,000 kilometers. If you've got a diesel, you could probably make it to 1 million. So yeah, they're the most reliable, but you pay for it. If I was going to get a Hiace rather than an Express, it would probably cost me around about twice as much to get something of a similar year model, similar kilometers. It would probably be about twice as much. But yeah, that's second on the list. So if you want to see that particular model, then you can check out my older videos. Should probably mention too, these vans aren't in any particular order. They end up being in pricing order, but that wasn't really intentional. They're not in order of preference or anything like that. But having said that, the third on the list is the Ford Transit, which I'm sure most of you have heard of because I think you can get them in most countries around the world. You can get them in different variances, so you can get different wheelbases, different roof heights. The one that I would be getting would be sort of a medium to long wheelbase with a high roof. The Transit is something that I am looking at as a potential future van. I think initially the first van that I get will end up being one of the first two on the list, and then later on it'll be the Transit or the one I'm going to talk about next, because they're a bit more expensive, but they have a lot more space. So yeah, the Transit is third on the list, and mainly for the space and the height. Number 4 on the list, which is probably the van that I'd like to have the most, but unfortunately is also the most expensive of the 4, is the Mercedes Sprinter. I'm sure you've all heard of it, because at the moment it's super popular in the van community. There's a lot of people doing Sprinter conversions online, and I think it's for good reason. I mean, similar to the Ford Transit, the reason I like it is because it's got the high roof. You can get it in long wheelbase. You can get basically it's a van with a lot of space in the back, which leaves it open to all sorts of conversions. You can get really creative with them because you're not limited so much by space. But the reason that I would put that above the Ford Transit would be the fact that being built by Mercedes, it's got a real high build quality, and they're also more reliable. They're pretty well known to be fairly reliable vehicles. So yeah, but you do pay for it. I mean, here in Australia, it's probably, to get a Sprinter, something that I would consider worth getting with reasonable kilometers and the model that I would want, you're looking at like 25 grand, you know, which is way more than I have at the moment. So a Sprinter for me is kind of like a long-term goal. I'd love to have one in the future, but for now, I will probably start with one of the cheaper vans. But yeah, definitely the Sprinter is on the list. So currently, as far as the list is concerned, I'm actually thinking I might stick to one of the cheaper vans, just so that I can get one sooner rather than later, because if I have to save up for a Transit or a Sprinter, it's going to be a long time before I get a van. So I think maybe what I'll do is I might look at a Mitsubishi Express or something similar, save up a few thousand, get one of those. And I'd actually really like to try and do more of a budget build than I did last time, because when I got my Hiace, I pretty much bought the best of everything that I could find, and it made the build really expensive, and I probably bought some things that weren't necessary as well. So I want to try and do, like I said, more of a budget build, and yeah, kind of go from there. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comments section for the Q&A video that's coming up as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like it. If you want to support the channel, then check out the instructions in the video description, and I'll see you next time.